Well, we're back. We're happy. We're unusually happy this morning. I'm not sure why. Nancy is squirming around, jumping up and down, and we love the show. And I got to remember to tell you folks out there because a lot of you are new listeners. It just happened to flash by us on your dial or on Facebook or YouTube or wherever you are out there in cyberspace and say, who is this? Well, here's who we are. We're a group of folks that for many, many years have been talking about advising you how to buy a car, lease a car, without being ripped off by your car dealer. I mean, it sounds a little crude, and I use that because it's succinct, it's to the point. This is what we do. The car business is a tough business. It's tough for you, the consumer. You probably never had a real pleasant experience buying a car. Think about it. I mean, think about your favorite store: Costco, Target, Publix, Apple. Think about your favorite store, then compare it to the last time you bought a car or had your car repaired. So, I want you to understand, you new listeners, that we do have the qualifications in this studio. Rick Kearney, sitting to my right, is a technician, auto technician. And he's worked for my dealership, and yes, I do have a car dealership. He's worked for my car dealership for over a quarter century. And he sees it every single day. He fixes cars. And he fixes mainly Toyotas, but he fixes all different kinds of cars too. Very qualified. So we've been there and we've done that. My son Stu, he's been in the car business for many years. My wife Nancy, she's my co-host. She's been involved with us for 30 years or more. We're a family operation, by the way, which is unusual. And we take what we do seriously. We love what we do. We're insiders speaking to you who are the outsiders. The car dealership is evolved differently than all other businesses because of, well, there's a lot of reasons. I don't want to get into that now. But a car dealership is doing business today the way they did 50, 60, 70 years ago. I think the car franchise system has been around since shortly after, about Henry Ford time, I guess.
Over 100 years.
Over 100 years. So it's frozen in time. I mean, it's an anachronism. And when you buy a car, you say, what? I mean, what happened? You go in to buy a car, you can't get a price. They won't give you the best price unless you agree to buy it then. And if they give you a price, it's not really the price. They're adding junk fees. They're adding dealer-installed worthless accessories. They're flim-flamming you around, and then they're financing the car and making exorbitant profits, averaging over $2,000 just to finance the car. So that's who we are. That's what we do. And if you're driving down the highway and you're interested, hey, give us a call. If you're not interested, put on another station. The problem with buying a car is you don't think about it. Oh, we have two people holding, and Nancy just told me about that because we prioritize phone calls. So I'm going to shut up right now, and we're going to our first caller and then our second caller, and we encourage you to do that quickly. 877-960-9960. 877-960-9960. Please call us at 877-960-9960. And now Nancy will introduce our first caller.
Yes, I will. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this special Mother's Day edition of Earl Stewart on Cars. And to start the show off, we do have a first-time female caller. But first, let me tell you this: we are offering $50 for the first two female callers, and we have
the first new.
And we also have a special this morning as to, if you're a mother and you're a first-time female caller, that too is real important. Our number, as Earl said, 877-960-9960. And we're going to go straight to Ann.
If you're a mother and you're a first-time female caller, you get $100 instead of $50. Is that right?
That's right. We did talk about that.
That's right. That's right.
That's pretty important. Okay. So remember, ladies, if you're a mom and you're a first-time caller, you're going to win yourself $100 this morning, not 50. That'll help you out in these crazy times.
Mother's Day special.
Yes. Ann, good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
You are a first-time caller, and you are you a mom?
Yes, I am. I have a son.
Okay, you just won yourself $100 instead of the normal 50 that we give out every
Happy
week.
Mother's Day.
Oh, well, happy Mother's Day to everyone.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Our producer Elise will get your information, and she'll get it to me, and I'll get that check out to you. Happy Mother's Day. What can we do for you this morning?
Yes, I have a 2018 Hyundai Sonata. And I have been in with the Sonatas for 19 years, and I've been happy until now. The paint is coming off of the roof and off of the hood. And I have been 2 months dealing with the dealership on North Lake Boulevard, and they just give me a runaround, and I'm a senior citizen by myself, and it's very upsetting. They tell me I'm still under warranty for this white paint from 2018, but I can't get anywhere. They said, oh, yeah. But every time I go in, I go to the dealership. They take pictures, they file a claim, then I go back 2 weeks later to check on it, and they say, oh, no claim has been filed. And I just don't know what to do. And I have a friend that buys his cars from you, and he says, call this number. They can help you decide what to do.
Yeah,
So
and
here I am.
they make it sound real easy, and I want to tell you what, this is no consolation, but you are not the only one with pain problems. There's a lot of pain problems out there, but this dealership that you're dealing with, you know, whether you're a woman, a man, doesn't matter. They're gonna slow the process down. They have their reasons, I guess, but there are ways to get around it, and therefore I'm going to turn this over to the recovering car dealer.
And unfortunately, you're dealing with one of the most infamous car dealers in the United States. The Napleton Auto Group has been charged by the Federal Trade Commission and Attorney Generals with stealing money from adding hidden junk fees and things to cars and overcharging, and they settled for I think $10 million after they stole. What was it, 20 million? Not a bad deal.
70 million.
70 million. They stole 70 and settled for 10. So my advice to you is to find another Hyundai dealer. And I know that's difficult, and we'll try to help you there. Stu will check around and see who the nearest Hyundai dealer to Napleton on North Lake Boulevard is. Manufacturers are very skeptical and suspicious of their dealers when it comes to warranty work. And they're extremely suspicious of Napleton Hyundai and his group because they were involved in a big lawsuit with, I say they, the Napleton Auto Group was in a lawsuit with the Hyundai manufacturer over fraudulent warranty claims. They were charged by Hyundai with blowing up their engines to collect the warranty work. Customer would come in with a perfectly good engine, then Napleton would blow up the engine, and they would charge Hyundai thousands of dollars in warranty reimbursement. And so you're probably dealing with the dealer is not believed by the manufacturer. I would suggest that you go to another Hyundai dealer.
Yeah.
And Stu's got one for you, I think.
Well, Delray Hyundai in Delray, I mean, it sounds like it's far away, but the next closest Hyundai dealer to the Napleton one on North Lake is the Napleton one in West Palm Beach. So if
How
you're
about
going
north? Is there anyone?
I think I think Wallace has some places up in Stewart. I'll double check. And But the Delray Hyundai is actually the highest rated Hyundai on our recommended dealers. It's actually got a C rating.
And I don't know if that's going to be a challenge for you. It's a long way to go.
Wallace.
Wallace, Hyundai, and Stewart, or the Delray Hyundai. Hyundai. Who owns the Delray Hyundai?
I'm not sure.
Anyways, but we checked them out, and they're a pretty good outfit. You could call them first and explain your situation and say you're having difficulty with Napleton and ask them. They're going to have pictures of your car. Did Napleton take any pictures of your roof?
Yes, they did. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Do you have copies?
Not of what they took, but I can take some.
Yeah, they're going to, if you go to Wallace Hyundai or if you go to Delray Hyundai, they're going to want to have pictures. And yeah, it should be a no-brainer. It should be easy. There are a lot of paint warranty issues out there. Toyota has a lot of them. And all the manufacturers are having issues, particularly in Florida with the sun. The horizontal surfaces oftentimes fade, and there's a lot of paint warranty work has to be done. But that's my advice to you. If you have difficulty, call us back, and we'll help any way we can.
Okay, well, this has been a big help to me, and I thank you very much.
You're welcome, Ann. And thank you for calling. Please spread the word. We're building a platform here for everyone, but we're trying to encourage some ladies to get involved. Our numbers have climbed, but would like to see it just get a little bit higher.
You know, Delray Hyundai, I looked it up.
Yes,
Its
I
own.
will. I'll spread the word.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Ann.
I didn't know Ann was still on the line.
I'm sorry. Stu has some information for you, Ann.
That's okay. You can follow up after the call.
Yeah, would you do that? Would you do that, Ann? Would you follow up and give us a call and let us know whether or not you ended up in Delray or you went to Wallace to get
Yes,
this?
I will. I'll do that. Thank you.
Okay. Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy that $100 and happy Mother's Day.
I will. That makes this kind of better, but thank you very much, and happy day to everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, stay well. Thank you.
877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. And I think Stu has something to add.
Yeah, Delray's owner. It's I haven't heard of this group. It's called the Superstore Auto Group. Have you heard of them?
No.
The CEO is John Sloopy Jr.
Really?
Yeah, so I don't know how many stores.
Must have recently purchased.
Yeah, this is there's a Business Wire report about them. I think acquiring Delray Genesis, Delray Hyundai, Delray Acura, but I don't know how many other dealerships the Superstore Auto Group of Delray actually owns. But I'll look into it some more.
Yeah, they're very large, and John Sloopy Jr. is really acquiring dealerships rapidly. We're acquainted with his father, and we know his father, John Sloopy Sr. He was local for a long time, mainly based in New York now.
Very interesting.
Okay.
See, they change hands a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Superstore. Ladies and gentlemen, you can subscribe to Earl Stewart on Cars podcast using any of the following podcast apps from your iPhone, your Android smartphone. You can subscribe to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcast, Amazon Music, Stitcher Radio, and SoundCloud apps. So take advantage of that. There's a lot of ways that you can get in touch with us. You can send your YouTubes to Rick. You can send your texts to Earl, or excuse
Don't
me,
we have another
Stu.
caller holding?
And you can also give me a call at 877-960-9960. We're going to go straight to Howard, who's been holding, and he's a regular caller from Jupiter. Good morning.
Good morning. I hope you're all well. We had a nice time in Jupiter this morning. I got up at 6 o'clock and walked around. They had a race here. It had to do with the turtles, and it was very interesting.
Turtle
they
trot.
blocked off the they blocked off the US 1, and it was very interesting. I went to your dealership yesterday. I had a problem with the Toyota Safety Connect. Safety Connect is what it does. If you get into an accident and your airbag is deployed, it's notified, and they send help. And if you have a problem and the airbag doesn't go off, but you're stuck, there's a button that you press, and you get in touch with them, and they know where you are, and they come and help you. So what happened is that I have a different credit card that I was going to put on it, and I was having trouble. So I went into your dealership, and I spoke to a new person there, receptionist, Diane Dorsey. She was great.
Uh-huh.
She was able to access all my information and get the new credit card on the Safety Connect program. However, I found out, and she found out, that Safety Connect is going to stop October 31st.
Mm-hmm.
And what I don't know is if it's going to start up again or if it's completely finished. So that's a question I have for you people. What's the story with Safety Connect now?
I'm going to look into it a little bit more. I think it's going to a subscription service. It was a complimentary thing, but I'll do a little research because I knew it was sunsetting, and I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah, there's interesting on that subject that you brought up. Toyota's Safety Connect is definitely going to continue, and as Stu says, it'll probably be subscription. They're enhancing the services, and I was really pleasantly surprised when I was talking with a Toyota representative the other day that one of the new benefits of Toyota Safety Connect, and this goes with Honda, this goes with all the manufacturers now in the digital age, this whole software phenomenon we're going in the benefits to the drivers even and to the dealers too. The benefit that he pointed out to me was that if you're driving a Toyota or a Lexus and you're on the Safety Connect system and you're in an accident, they will direct you to the nearest Toyota or Lexus certified collision center, which will help ensure that your vehicle is repaired with OEM parts. A lot of the insurance companies are prone to try to put aftermarket parts. These are Chinese parts, or maybe in Taiwan or Korea or someplace, that are not safety checked, and which can, if it's a crash part, a hood, a bumper, a fender, can be dangerous. So things like this, by the direct communication from the manufacturer of the car to the dealer and to you, with maybe not even you having to be involved, is going to make your car safer. Rick had a point.
Some of them are also trying to push for used parts, recycled from the junkyard.
Exactly, yeah. You have to watch it with the insurance company. But anyway, Safety Connect, unfortunately, you're probably going to have to pay for it.
The main, I'm not sure about that yet. The main reason it's going down, it's happening all over the country with 3G technology. So all the Safety Connect was based on 3G, and that's coming to an end. Nothing supports it. There is a next generation Safety Connect. That's what I had read about, and I don't have much information on that. It could be free. I don't know, but it will have to be on the 5G network.
It'll be 5G, yeah. But thanks very much, Howard. That's a great question, and thanks for complimenting Diane Dorsey. It's nice to have people that will go above and beyond. She's a receptionist.
She's the best,
and she does a really good job. Appreciate the compliment. We'll pass that along to her.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a good day, guys.
You too, Howard.
Give us a call again, Howard. We're going to go to Mike, who is calling us from Loxahatchee. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning. On podcast, can I get you guys during the week on some of your prior shows?
Oh, yeah.
And if so, what would I try for the podcast?
Well, Nancy can list all of them, but if you just have the Apple iPhone podcast app or any of the popular podcast applications,
Alexa.
SoundCloud.
Yeah, you can. As Stu said, there's a number of them, and there's Stitcher Radio. There's a SoundCloud app. You have Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and you can access these from your iPhone or your Android smartphone.
Well, how about Alexa?
Alexa,
Jonathan?
I think with Alexa, I believe you can play podcasts through Alexa if you teach your Alexa the skill. And I'm not sure if I ever set mine up, but I do think I have the ability to hook my Alexa device to my podcast app or the other app. So check into that. If you look on your Alexa app for skills and you search for podcasts, I'm pretty sure you should be able to hook your Alexa up to a.
Mike,
great information,
try
Stu.
this. Try, say, Alexa, play Earl on Cars podcast. I
Yeah.
mean, she's very smart.
She might find
and, And she, it's amazing. I have to keep testing my Alexa because she learns things that I didn't even know she knew about. So just say,
Hey, Alexa, make me dinner. Whoa,
yeah, right.
what's she doing?
and she'll even come back with a cute response if she can't make dinner.
Alexa's been bossing us around, Mike. She's taken over our home.
If you have the podcast
John,
on your phone,
hold on,
Alexa
Mike.
will pick that up and play it.
Yeah.
If you have the podcast, I think Jonathan said if you had the podcast on your phone, it'll pick that up.
Well, that's another way
Right,
to do it.
Jonathan?
I'm legally blind and I don't use a phone. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
But I do use Alexa.
Okay. I think you should be able to do that. Alexa has lots of skills, so I guess start talking to Alexa and let us know if it works, because we'd love to be able to tell all the listeners that works.
Yeah, Alexa's opening up our side view mirrors on the Tesla, and we thought we had to use another, I don't know, there's so many names, but I was behind the wheel. I mistakenly said Alexa, and she opened up so she has a lot of skills.
She could also open up if you said Daffy Duck, because she accepts any name. Tesla. It's a Tesla.
You've called her more than Daffy Duck.
Yes, I have.
That's another show, Mike. What else can we do for you?
My second question is about catalytic converters.
My favorite topic.
What's the approximate cost on a truck to replace a catalytic converter that's been stolen?
That's going to vary quite widely, but figure pretty close to $1,000 or more.
Yeah, up to $2,000.
Yeah.
And depending upon how many catalytic converters you have could have two
Exactly.
on some cars.
And there's also the fact that depending on what parts were cut when they stole it, where they cut them, that price can go anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 to $3,000.
Where do you live, Mike?
Oh, Loxahatchee.
Okay, yeah. I'm curious. I know in Houston they're having a crime wave. Houston, Texas. It's huge. I'm not sure why that particular area is hit, but yeah, it's the prices of palladium and the rare earth elements are going up. And there's an article in Automotive News, something you might want to think about, and it was new to me, and I'm going to discuss it with my people at the dealership. That some people are starting now to paint their catalytic converters in bright colors. In other words, something that is like green or day glow orange or something like that.
Fluorescent.
And then also put the serial number of the car on it in such a manner that it can't be, or very difficult to be removed. It's kind of like the same philosophy when you put a VIN etch your windows with a VIN number.
Yeah.
The crook goes to the easier target. So if your catalytic converter is bright orange and has a VIN number on it, when he gets underneath your car and he starts to take it off, he says, "To hell with this." The one over there doesn't have this to worry about.
Actually, when I used to work on job sites back when I painted, we used to paint our tools bright pink to keep the other construction workers from walking off with our screwdrivers and our hammers.
Good idea.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay,
Thanks for the
Mike.
call, Mike.
Have a good day.
Stay in touch. Car theft is up. Catalytic converters are up, and we know why.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to stick with the phones, and we're going to go to Michael, who's giving us a call from Jupiter. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning. Morning.
Good morning.
So, I had a question. A few weeks ago, you had mentioned that you guys believe that Cadillac might be going by wayside in the next few years. Do you still think that's true?
It's hard to say, and I'm probably picked on Cadillac, but I don't mean to. There are going to be a huge number of brand names, models, makes that are going to disappear. Of course, we have the rapid change to electric hybrid, and we're going to have autonomous vehicles. So there's a consolidation of manufacturers, makes, and models. Cadillac has been around a long, long time. It might exist as a nameplate. Cadillac is still a strong brand, but so was Pontiac and so was Oldsmobile. These brands no longer exist. So it, I haven't got a crystal ball, but and I won't be around to find out if I'm right or wrong. But in 20 years, you will probably see only 2 or 3 auto manufacturers, and they won't be auto manufacturers, they'll be software manufacturers. And you'll probably see very few brands and permutations of makes and models and colors. It's going to be a different world, and I just don't think the Cadillac as we know it today isn't going to survive.
Okay. No, I thought it was you were talking about it earlier. All right, that's terrific. Thanks so much.
Thanks for the call.
You're welcome, Michael. Give us a call again. Our number here is 877-960-9960, and you can text us at 772-497-6530. We're going to stick with the phones, and we're going to talk to Wes from West Palm Beach. Good morning, Wes.
Good morning. How is everybody doing?
We're doing well. Thank you for calling.
Very good. I have 2 points. One point would be, when was the last time, or are you going to do a little a survey of Napleton Acura?
Oh, Mr. Shop of Maple and Acura. When's the last time we did that, Stu? Well, not too long ago, about 2-3 months.
Looking it up right now. Oops, I searched in the wrong thing. It might have been a while.
Has it?
Yeah, I mean, I know we've done quite a few Napleton dealerships recently. Let's see here.
Yeah, it's tempting not to concentrate on Napleton dealerships because I hate to use the word entertaining because it's
2019.
really tragic what they do. But they're getting so much national publicity now with the Federal Trade Commission and the Attorney General's office and the huge fines and accusations, lawsuits. It's like, it's exciting to go into a Napleton dealership. Last time we went into a Napleton Acura, as I recall, they were far better than the other Napleton
It was
dealerships.
2019.
2019. Wow.
So it's been a while.
Yeah, we got to go back. Thanks for the heads up. That's too long. We need to shop them again.
Well, I know they weren't.
They weren't good.
Listed in the
Yeah.
lawsuit.
They were not good.
They were not good. I'm reading my summary, classic bait and switch, and so it sounds like it was not a good experience. But we'll go back. We'll find out. That's old. This is old information. So we'll go back and get a refreshed point of view of Napleton Acura.
Great. My other point is I was in with my 2022 Tacoma about 3 weeks ago for my 6-month service, and I had a little problem with timing, and I used the red phone, and it was busy, but I think whoever you just said was your receptionist said, here, use my phone, and I think I talked to Josh, and I got out of there like right away. But since then, I've gotten emails from Earl Stewart Toyota about what's your problem, how can we help you, did we give you all the information you need, can we help you buy a car? Are those computer generated? I mean, I got one this morning, I got one a week ago.
We do have an AI with our, and it goes to email correspondence, and generally it's for communications, like back and forth, just like making sure that people have been taken care of. So, there is an AI generated communications thing that we use through our.
Okay, when is it generated, Stu? Because I didn't know about that.
Oh, it's somebody sends in a request for a price on a vehicle that comes back, says if it's after hours, hang tight, somebody will get with you, and then it automatically goes back about maybe the next day and says, hey, did Stephanie get in touch with you? And if it says no, it goes to us. So it's like a kind of, it monitors the communication, makes sure everybody's doing their job.
Yeah, I'd like to take a look at that and see what the language is. I've had that comment before. I didn't know
This is the
doing
same
it.
one. Did you send us an email about this?
I think I did,
Yeah, this is the same person. It's just a
Yeah.
few days ago, last week, right?
Yeah, I'm a little bit like you, I think, when it comes to computer-generated emails. I get too much email. I get so many emails now that
Oh, this is only in response to people. This is not an
I know
outbound
that.
thing. Yeah,
I know that. But what I'm saying is that I've moved to text because I get so many emails, and it seems like every time I contact a store or anybody, and I'm online a lot, like everybody, and every time I call somebody, I get called back, and I don't want to get called back. So it's something we should look at. I'm glad you reminded me. I see it's a good intent, and I think we meant well, but I'm not so sure it's a good idea. So thanks for the heads up on that.
Yep, no problem. Just wanted to alert you. I wasn't make sure it wasn't a scam.
No, that's not the other reason
That's
that
a
I
thought.
get concerned is, and, you know, if there's, I'm not sure what the number one thing I complain about most, but junk email. I mean, I'm using my trash button and my junk button and my what is the other one? The
Clutter.
Clutter button more and more. I'm trying to clean out my inbox more and more, and so I know exactly how you feel. And I think we need to take a look at that, be sure we're not annoying our customers.
And that was a good point, Wes, you know, whether or not it would be a scam. And there's so much email that is generated from feedback, and it's hard to keep track of everything. And then to re-educate your computer for it not to go into your clutter or your junk. So there's a lot of work there. Thanks for the heads
Okay,
up.
well, thanks.
Okay.
Have a great day, and I love your dealership.
Thank you, Wes.
Thank you so much, Wes. Stay in touch. You can get in touch with us also through Your Anonymous Feedback. That's www.youranonymousfeedback.com. And Stu will read it right here on the air. We have been very, very busy on the phones this morning, a little more than usual. And that number is 877-960-9960. Don't forget, ladies, not only are we celebrating Mother's Day, but if you are a first-time caller and you are a mom, you can win yourself $100 this morning, only this morning, because it's Mother's Day weekend. We are going to go to Gary in West Palm Beach, and the others that are holding will be right with you. Good morning, Gary.
Good morning. Nostalgic trip. My first car 52 years ago was from Doug Stewart,
Ah,
and I had just gotten out of the Army, and it was a new 90 Pontiac Tempest fire engine red.
wow.
And that's when it was down on South Dixie.
Yeah, that's
And-
right across from the Carefree Theater.
And another comment, 3 years ago, I got a car at Nathanson. It was a new car. I have no problem with the car, but I spent 5 hours there, and it was probably the most humiliating 5 hours of my whole life. It was even worse than Vietnam.
Wow.
And I just felt so filthy when I walked out of the place. I felt like they just sold me down the river. So
Yeah.
I remember your comments at the first part of today's broadcast about how going to a car dealership can be so traumatic.
Yeah. It's a shame that our Attorney General doesn't take action on that. I wrote a blog article, a newspaper column about that. But here's a car dealer we have locally, and also he's national. He's in the top 10 volume dealers in the country, and he's been charged with some pretty serious crimes, and he settled. It didn't. We settled with the Federal Trade Commission, but thanks for sharing that with us, and I'm sorry that you had that experience.
I really enjoy your radio program. I appreciate it.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much, Gary. Our lines are lit up. We're going to go to Phil in Lake Worth. Good morning, Phil.
Hey, good morning. How you all doing?
Great.
Great.
Hey, listen, I have a question. Something with a parasitic, maybe I'm not saying it right, a parasitic problem. In other words, when I go check out the alternator, the generator, the alternator, the starter, the battery, everything's fine. And then someone says you have a parasite on that. And then what happens is I went through a battery, I went through a starter, I went through an alternator, and it says what's going on is something is drawing juice out of there. Can you explain that to me? Because now I'm getting ready to I just put a new battery, starter, and alternator, and it seems to be doing the same thing. So what is a parasite?
What you're actually talking about is a parasitic draw. And what this is something in your car, some component that is supposed to turn off when you turn the car off is remaining on, or it's drawing more power from the battery than it should be, more electricity. generally speaking, if you hooked up an ammeter in line with your battery, when you turn everything off, you should see no more than about 30 milliamps of draw, 30 to 60 milliamps generally. And that's what they call the keep alive memory for the computers. They will need a certain amount of power to keep like the clocks up to date, keep the memories alive on the computer and that. But anything more than that is drawing too much, and that's actually going to run your battery down overnight or over the period of a day or two. So what a technician will normally do to diagnose this is we'll hook up an ammeter, watch for that parasitic draw and see how big that number gets, and then we basically just start pulling fuses one at a time until that draw suddenly disappears, and we trace that fuse circuit to find out what component is pulling so much extra power. And it can be a kind of a long, tedious process because you're basically just exploring the electrical system on the car to try to figure out what is staying on and what is drawing that extra power.
What approximately will that process cost, Rick?
It can go anywhere from $200 or $300 to $1,000 or more because it's based on how long it takes the mechanic to track this down and find it. Sometimes it's a very simple process, maybe just one light bulb remaining on. Matter of fact, what I would do first is, close your car all up, shut everything off, and then I would look in through the windows everywhere you can and see if there's any lights or anything like that that may be staying on, a dome light or a courtesy light somewhere. Even the door pin switch, shake the doors without hitting the door
Phil,
handle.
if you take it into a service department, put a cap on the diagnostic and say, I've got a parasitic problem here with my car, electrical leak, don't know where it is, but I don't want to spend a lot of money on it. Can you check it out for me? And they say, yeah, we'll do that. I say, well, how much, how little is this going to cost me? Don't ask them how much. And if it, I cap it at $100 or what you feel comfortable with. If you don't cap it, and they're going to come back and give you a bill for $1,000, and still they might still not have found it. So you can't have an open-end diagnostic, but take it someplace to hopefully probably to the guy that manufacturer, a dealer if you can, and cap the diagnostic fee.
Well, I know that when I take the key off the ignition, the buzzer on the ignition is still buzzing. So now that you say that, probably that would be it. So I probably would have to put a new ignition with the key and all that, correct?
What's the car we're talking about?
It's a '98 Ford van.
The first thing I would try, I would check that ignition switch and see, because if that key reminder buzzer is staying on, I would go after that ignition switch and check the wiring to it to see what's going on there. It could be as simple as just disconnect that buzzer and get rid of the buzzer, and that would get rid of it.
And you don't want to spend $1,000 on a 24-year-old vehicle either, because you've got to.
No. I mean, this is my work van. I mean, it's the body's good, the engine's good, everything's good. I mean, keep it up top shape. But anyways, and then, the second question I got to ask has to do with cars. But like right now, I'm in the car now. But the young lady that talks on radio, her voice is excellent. But when you guys start, you have like a bass sound. It's like
I think we lost your phone call.
Yeah, you're breaking up. You must be in a bad cell area, Phil. Could you restate the question? Yeah, we lost you. Drop the call. I'm sorry.
I think what he was saying is that Nancy's voice is coming through normal, but ours there's maybe too much low tone on the signal or something.
Oh, I didn't know.
Distorted?
Yeah.
Okay. We are going to. Marty, are you still with us?
No.
Hello.
Marty, hey, I thought I lost you. Hold on for a second. John, hold on. We'll be right with you. Well, we have an enormous amount of phone calls this morning. Good morning, Marty. How are things going?
I got a question for either Earl or Stu.
Okay.
Can they tell me why on the high-end Camrys, or any Camry,
they've never put in a memory seat.
I have no idea. I know it's in the Avalon. I know even in the higher end models, you're absolutely right. I'm at a loss for words. I don't know.
Well,
that's
I
a
think
good
it's
question.
supply and demand. That's the answer to everything. I think people, if they feel like they can get by without something to keep the price down, they don't offer it. And for example, I don't. I've had memory seats in every car I drive, but I don't ever use it.
Yeah.
And to me, it's so easy to readjust the seat. If Nancy drives the car, pop, I know how to adjust it.
Yours is really easy. All you do is you put the button until it stops moving in every direction.
Yeah, I know.
As far
Now,
back.
there can be an advantage, Marty, and a disadvantage with two people driving the same car. I'm driving the Tesla, Earl's driving the Tesla, and automatically it comes up and says, that it's programmed for Earl. Then I have to readjust it. So, good question.
Marty, I think it's. I guess they have to like separate the luxury items, and so if they reserved it for the Avalon for the flagship car, so the highest end equipment. I don't know why they consider memory seats to be like uber luxury.
Yeah.
It's just a convenience, It's not like marble inlays or gold.
Yeah, I look at it this way: when you build a car, it's probably pretty cheap to put it in.
Yeah.
And you add it to the sticker anyways, whatever it is. Now, I know even the Avalon, which I've had, you had to have the high-end Avalon to even get the memory seat.
But I think Earl hit the nail on the head, Marty. Like they're having no problem selling Camrys. Camry is probably the second best-selling car in the world. Why do it? And then to try and tempt people to go up the Avalon, probably the lowest-selling Toyota vehicle we have, it doesn't make sense. So they should put it in everything.
Right. And
charge
they
a little
did
for
away
it.
with the Avalon, right? For 22 was the last year.
We are in the last cycle ever of the Avalon, unless they decide to surprise us and bring it back in the future.
I'm counting my moments in my Avalon because there's someone out there that's looking for one, and there are no more, except mine.
The last of the
Now
Mohicans.
everybody knows it.
All right.
Okay, Marty.
Stick with Camrys, I guess, even without the memory seat.
There you go.
Yeah. Thanks so much. Give us a call again.
Thanks, Marty.
We're going to go to John in Palm City, and I'm going to ask my first-time female caller just to hang in there. Good morning, John.
Good morning. Happy Mother's Day to Nancy and all the mothers.
Thank you.
The topic, you're welcome. The topic came up again about catalytic converters. It's all over the news on the internet. There's a new use that they're using them for, believe it or not. It's to manufacture drugs.
Really?
It's all on the internet. I don't understand the process. It started in Africa, and it's something to do with the honeycomb part of it, and they convert it into drugs, and they're on the increase in theft. My daughter lives in Carroll Gardens in Brooklyn, and that's a good neighborhood. Her friend had it stolen 4 cars on that same block overnight, and her friend has a Honda Civic, and it cost, the way it was cut, it had additional pipes involved, and it was a $3,000 bill, and she only $500 deductible. But the place that repaired it, she had to pay for it. It's what they call a catalytic converter lock. I don't know how that works, whether it's welded around it or what, but it's worth probably looking into. And it's called specifically a catalytic converter lock. Does Rick know anything about that?
Yeah, there's a bunch of different devices out there that they wrap cables or cages around the catalytic converter. They lock them in place. They put steel plates on, underneath the body of the car to try to prevent access. There's been a ton of different things that people are using to try to prevent that. As for the catalytic converters being used for drugs, I honestly have no clue about that, and truthfully, I don't even want to know. I know they're stealing them, and I know how to replace them, and I know how to offer advice on how to prevent it, but what they're doing with them once they get them, I don't even want to know anymore. It's crazy.
But would you recommend a catalytic converter lock?
Yeah, it's not a bad idea if you're responsible for the cost of those repairs on your car, and you want to avoid, having the hassle of getting the car repaired, going through your insurance company for a settlement. Yeah, I think it'd be a pretty reasonable idea.
I've got a picture, John, you're probably not streaming it. I've got a picture in the Automotive News article on catalytic convertibles. Here's an aluminum or steel shield that is installed, and if you're streaming, you can see it's probably a lot cheaper, or maybe not, I'm not sure, than the lock. But we were talking about that earlier in the show, how to make something you don't want stolen undesirable to a thief. One way is to paint it, put a VIN number on it, and here's a shield that some dealers are putting on catalytic converter. But you know, the chances of your catalytic converter being stolen, depending on where you live and where you park your car, and what neighborhood you live in, you know, it's pretty rare. It just doesn't happen. Houston's having a rash of these kind of thefts, but you know, like everything else, sometimes you overreact. If you had to spend $100 to protect your catalytic converter, you're probably paying too much. If you could do it for less than that, it might be worth it.
You know, I mean, what it comes down to basically is just the idea that if they want to get it, they're going to get it. And if you make yours just a little more difficult than the guy next to you, they'll go to him.
Yes.
Well, thanks for the advice about the catalytic lock.
Okay, thank you, John.
And thank you, John, for letting us know that people can crush up and snort their catalytic converters, because that's what they're doing.
Interesting.
It's called Bombay, and it's pretty horrific sounding, so don't do that. It's going to kill you, kids. Stay away. Don't stay away from catalytic converters.
You know, one of those metals that's in the catalytic converter, I'm looking at this Automotive News article, rhodium.
Yeah.
How much does rhodium cost per ounce now?
I don't know. I think that's the active ingredient, though.
$16,000 per ounce. Wow. In other words, that's more than diamonds, I think.
Yeah. But where do you sell this stuff now? It's like, you know, even the junkyards now are being told they're not allowed to buy them unless they have provenance of where it came from.
Yeah.
And so it's
not like you're going to the pawn shop.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I got an ounce of
Palladium's only $919 an ounce.
Rhodium.
And palladium is only $2,200, but rhodium, you want to get that rhodium, $16,000 an ounce. Wow.
Rhodium.
Rhodium. Huh.
Okay, let's move along.
Yeah, how about those special metals that are in my knees? Yeah. I'm going to have to get some insurance. We are going to, I'll tell you, we've had so many phone calls this morning, and I'll tell you what I say every week, how important you are to the show.
Tell them to quit bothering us. We got a show to do here.
You know, you're a great audience, and you fill our heads with, you know, information we don't even have. Look at John from Palm City. He just called. Amazing. Every week he gives us something new to wrap our heads around. We are going to go to our second new female caller, and I believe her name is Heloise. Have I pronounced it correctly?
Yes, you did.
Oh, great. Heloise, are you a mom?
I'm at home.
Are you a mother?
Yes, she is.
I am a mother, yes.
Congratulations. Yes, you didn't win $50. You won yourself $100 this morning.
Mother's Day special, Eloise.
So
great.
Congratulations. And our a producer, Elise, she'll take your information. And we're trying to build a platform here, and you have just helped with that. So happy Mother's Day and congratulations. What can we help you with this morning?
I have a simple question, I assume, because everybody's saying not to buy cars at this moment. We have two old cars, and obviously, sooner or later, we're going to have to look for something new. I would like to know, if you have an idea, when would be the best time for us to start looking for a car, or should we wait for next year, calendar year?
Eloise, the best thing for you to do is wait a year. Take good care of your older cars. And I don't know if you're a low mileage, high mileage driver, but if you're a low mileage driver, it's probably a lot easier to take care of. You need to get the car checked out for safety reasons every 6 months or 10,000 miles. and you probably don't put 10,000 miles on your car. But prices are extremely high now, whether you buy a used car or a new car. With this pandemic and microchip shortage and a lot of other shortages, the prices are sky high. Availability is very low. Wait till the end of the year and maybe early next year, you'll get a much better deal on a car. Today, though, if you don't need a car, if you got two cars, maybe you don't need two cars. If you sell one of those two cars today, you can make a good profit because they're paying thousands of dollars more for used cars today than they ever did before. So it's a seller's market, and I'd rather sit tight and wait before I became a buyer.
I see. All right.
And
So I guess
Heloise,
that's what we're gonna
Earl
have
has a great article that he wrote quite some time ago. Well, at least since this inventory shortage and COVID and everything. And it really focuses on your old car and how important it is to take care of it and for you to realize you're sitting on a gold mine at this point in time. And if you can do that, it's well worth it. I thank you for calling, and I hope you spread the
thank
word.
you.
And we're building a platform here, as I told you earlier, so please spread the word. And have a great weekend.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Same to you.
877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530, and we are going to go back to the recovering car dealer.
Well, go to school. We probably got a whole backlog of anonymous feedbacks and texts.
Yeah, the phones have been crazy. We'll kick it off with Anne-Marie's text. Anne-Marie says, good morning. Today's questions center on where did they, vehicle manufacturers, put it, and why did they put it there? Once in a while, one gets an unfamiliar car like a rental vehicle and can't quickly find where the common controls are, like the lights and the window switches are. Very familiar situation. In 1994, my sister rented a car in France to drive around the country. She doesn't remember the make or the model, but when she got to a toll booth, she couldn't find the switch to lower the window. She had to open the door and get out in order to pay the toll. For some reason, I think this has happened to me before. But
everybody.
Yeah. Anyway, later, after searching, she found the switch to open the window. It was in the center console, not on the side door as expected. So, one, in your estimation, why would a car manufacturer put the window controls on the center console? Two, could putting the switch on the door possibly cause problems if the driver opens the door when it's raining hard? Three, have you ever seen any switches located on the door get shorted out by rain? I remember I had a friend who had an old Saab in high school, and she had window switches in the center console. I don't know why they put them on the door. Or we're supposed to be a car advice show, but I don't know the answer.
MR2 Spiders.
Oh, in the center.
Toyota MR2 Spider.
Oh, yeah.
The window switches in the center console.
The reason they do that is because they don't think, and it's stupid, and they need to devote more time to consumer input. I remember a long, long time ago before Toyota introduced Sienna into this country, they had the car driven through all 50 states. It took them a year, and they took notes, the engineers and the drivers, and they carefully took notes as to what the car needed in different areas and environments and terrains. And the Sienna back then was probably one of the most well thought out introduced cars. Now, cars are being introduced so quickly every day that they do stupid things. I'm driving a Tesla. I love a Tesla Plaid, and Elon Musk is my hero. He's a genius, but he's got some of the stupidest design in there. Nancy drives the car, so she'll back me up on this. It has a yoke steering wheel like an airplane, and that's okay, but the horn is on the yoke, and the turn signals are on the yoke, and when you turn the car, think about it, the horn can be on your left, or it can be on your right, it can be above you, it can be below you. So when you need your horn, typically, you need it pretty quickly. And every time I need my horn, I start slapping everything near me, including Nancy, trying to find
I'm black and
where
blue.
the horn is. Yeah, and the turn signals are important too. So if you're taking a 45-degree turn, your turn signal's up here, and if you're taking a hard turn, you can't find your turn signal at all. Plus, it's a black yoke, and the controls are black also. So stupidity. And Anne-Marie, once again, the best question of the day. Thank you very much.
Mamma mia.
Okay, I got a question from Bob. It's probably for Rick, but I know the answer too. Good morning. I know you don't promote your dealership on your program, but my question is, can Apple Play be added to my 2017 Sienna, and can you do it at your dealership? You can add Apple Play. There's an aftermarket things isn't there, to put in on a headset?
Actually, certain Toyotas, Apple CarPlay can be added by way of a software update.
Okay. Do you know about this 2017 RAV or Sienna? I'm sorry.
2017, I don't think so. I think the 17 is too old. I think
You'd have to get an
18
aftermarket.
or 19 and above.
Yeah.
For a 17, you would have to go to an aftermarket
headset,
either an aftermarket device that would add it as a dongle or a different radio unit.
And
replace
Rick,
the radio.
I think you've advised in the past, go to Best Buy. They got the best deal.
Yeah.
You've got the installation, and you can get a nice unit for less than it would cost you to have the modification.
Well, the best advantage there is that you're going from a 2017 technology radio to a 2022 technology radio, and 5 years change in technology is massive.
Huge, yeah, exactly. Okay. Next.
Okay. Oh, I think we spoke to Ann on the phone because we have a text here about the white paint coming off on her Hyundai. Okay, so we have some anonymous feedbacks. We'll jump over. This came in last week. I don't know if I read it on the air, but it came in again, so somebody wants us to read it. It says, Earl, you are guilty as you admitted. 70% profit. We did read this on the air because I corrected it said it was 73% increase year over year. It says you're back to your old ways, but you address this. He feels guilty.
You know, it's funny. I'm starting to automotive news. I used to I didn't even read it a lot of times years ago because it was totally self-serving to the car dealers and the car manufacturers, and never took the consumer into consideration. And they came out with an op-ed a few weeks ago that just absolutely got my attention because it called out the Napleton Group and it called out all dealers that are adding junk fees and saying, listen, boys, op-ed in Automotive News, a trade journal of the industry, the retail and the wholesale industry worldwide. And so, listen, you're screwing the customers, and you can't be doing this. You're going to end up having the manufacturer sell the cars directly, just like Tesla does. And here's another op-ed getting to the point in today's Automotive News. NADA obscuring dealer financials is a disservice. And I talked about this last week briefly, but I didn't have any idea that the Automotive News would jump on it too. Maybe they listen to the show. I don't know. But they're saying transparency is important in the National Automobile Dealers Association. And just because dealers are making obscene profits today, double profits, I mean, millions of dollars, they're with a supply and demand situation and the pandemic-induced microchip shortage, car dealers are just getting filthy rich, and so are the manufacturers. And NADA is trying to hide that, and there's an op-ed. Here it is. I've hold it up to those who stream, and you can see the, I think you can see, their opinion. You can get that online probably if you're interested, but every auto manufacturer, every car dealer, and many of the managers in those functions are reading this every week. It's a weekly. So thanks very much for the anonymous feedback and calling me out on making too much money. I mean, I do.
All right.
I feel guilty about it.
And you know, in the Automotive News, I do have to point out that it is an interesting magazine, and the reason for that is because it's for the consumer also. It just really opens up the door to information you wouldn't normally have, and it helps you to understand this inventory shortage, and it just helps you understand whether to purchase a vehicle or whether to hang on to that old vehicle. Now back to Stu.
Another anonymous feedback says, thank you, Earl, for addressing like a mensch your interrupting of Rick. Today's show is much better. I think I know who the anonymous feedback came from now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to out him.
Oh, okay. Don't out him. You don't out him. No, it is
Moise?
part of
Moise?
my. Huh?
Was it Moise? Who, never mind. Go on.
I don't know who it was.
Easy.
I don't. No, I'm saying that I wish we had more anonymous feedback like that, because I I think it's healthy to be called out. I think transparency trumps embarrassment or getting angry about something. And if you say something about me that's not true, I want you to do that anyway. I mean, don't make up something that you know is not true. If you want to, do it. But total honesty and transparency is so important. I'm just starting to understand that now, later in my life. And this is, I'm very excited about my new book, Redemption of a Recovering Car Dealer. And we just finished chapters 9 and 10. And oh, by the way, I haven't mentioned this to Stu or Nancy, but my ghostwriter, John Van Zyl is his name. I dictate to him twice a week for an hour or so, and he suggested that my last 3 blogs on Earl on Cars might make good ending chapters. So my last 3 blogs on Earl on Cars are Open Letter to Ashley Moody, Open Letter to Car Dealers, and the third one, Open Letter to Auto Manufacturers. So the State Attorney General, the manufacturers, and to whoever, I forgot what I said. Manufacturers, dealers, and state attorneys. So anyway, transparency and honesty is a amazing thing. Redemption. I put that in the title of my book because I just love being honest. I got so honest with I think Nancy was listening to my conversation with John Van Zyl, who is my ghostwriter, and I was just pouring forth. I was gushing out honesty and transparency. And before he hung up, he said, "Earl, I think we better have an attorney read this book before we publish it." And I said, I think you're right. I think you're right. But Stu's looking at me knowingly because he knows what I think about attorneys, and he knows how I go with it. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter if they look at it.
But, I also told him, a lot of this is inside. I apologize to people that are listening to too much inside stuff here, but there's a attorney that we use a lot. His name is Alex Kirkin, and he's the attorney for the South Florida Dealers Association, and he is an advocate for dealers. And when the manufacturers attack the dealers, or the consumer attacks the dealers, or a dog attacks a dealer, anybody attacking a dealer, Alex Kirkin is the go-to guy.
Good guy.
And he's a good guy, and he's kind of like Ted Smith, who's the president of the Florida Automobile Dealers Association. We're friendly adversaries. Ted Smith is a very smart guy. Alex Kirkin is a very smart guy, and we can talk and laugh and enjoy each other's missions in life. And so I will let Alex Kirkin read my book, and I will listen to all the things he says I shouldn't say. Then I'm going to do it anyway. But
listen.
It's I'm having fun. You can tell.
In that moment in our office at home, it was quite a moment when I heard the attorney's name being mentioned, and what came to my mind was that is just, well, the recovering car dealer has come very far, and at this late stage of the game, I don't think he's ready to serve any time in the slammer.
Part of it is the fact that if they give me life imprisonment, it ain't so bad. I mean, so it was I guess that was a bad joke, but.
All right, I got more anonymous feedback here. It says, "You, sir, have restored my faith in car dealerships."
Oh.
Well, that's not the well. Don't have too much faith in car dealerships. "You, sir, have restored my faith in car dealerships, and I look forward to procuring a Corolla from your lot. I was going to swing by this weekend to get a 2022 Blue LE, but I wasn't able to secure transportation. I'm in no rush and will more than likely get one in July. Keep up the great work. And, sir, I'm looking forward to doing business with you in a few weeks' time. Word of your business practices have reached as far south as Miami-Dade. I thought you should know."
Well, okay. Here's another. I just have to I have to confess because my redemption kicked in. That call was really good for business. I mean, the man's buying a car, and he's thanking me for being honest, and he's coming and buying a car. So I'm making money off my honesty. So you have your cake and you eat it too. You're honest. You treat people right. And my joke with my sons and my wife and all the managers in my dealership is the fact that Don't spread the word. We have the secret to success. Don't tell the other dealers. If you're honest and transparent, it's good for business. Don't tell them that, because then they'll be cutting into our business. So we have an honesty franchise. So when in the middle of the night I wake up and I say, am I really a nice guy, or am I just a really good businessman?
Our hidden secret.
I don't know. Maybe I'll go to my grave never knowing the answer. Or
I doubt that.
Maybe they're one and the same. Wouldn't that be wonderful if all businesses, Apple figured it out a long time ago, all businesses, Costco figured it out, they figured out if you really treat people honestly, they will beat a path to your door like you're a mousetrap. A better mousetrap, I should say.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm on a rant.
877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. Take advantage of your anonymousfeedback.com. I think that we're going to get a YouTube or two.
We've got a couple here.
Rick.
Negan One says, he's in Arizona. I noticed a local dealership in my town, the Ram Dodge dealership, is full of new vehicles, trucks and Jeeps. But the Ford dealer is very empty. Ford outselling Dodge? Definitely seems like it. Is people willing to wait on a Ford truck, maybe?
I can tell you.
Can you try to do a mystery shop on full-size pickups?
Well, I can tell you that if you see some lots with cars and some with zero cars, it's really up to the business model of that dealer. Some dealers, including some Toyota dealers, and this is how I know about it, are bringing cars in to be on the lot, and they sell them for the highest possible price. There are people out there that will not listen to the advice on this show and will have to have a car right now and will pay any price to get it. So the Dodge dealer is probably playing that game, and the Ford dealer is probably doing pre-orders and delivering them as they come in.
Yeah, car buyers, unfortunately, have a disease called instant gratification, an emotional disease that it can't be cured. And when you see a shiny new Jeep and you're standing real close to it, it's like, like a beautiful woman if you're a man, and you got to have it, and you'll pay whatever it takes. And you come out of the ether maybe a week later and say, my God, did I pay that much for that Jeep? But you can't do that on an ordered car. So the dealers are smart enough to know if they want to get $10,000 or $15,000 over MSRP, you got to have that shiny new vehicle there. Now, they're not only cheating the customers, they're cheating the manufacturers, because a lot of these dealers, and Stu knows this, a lot of these dealers have reported that car or Jeep being sold to the manufacturer a month ago. I mean, they probably reported that Jeep as being sold to the manufacturer as soon as they got invoiced for it, and that means that the manufacturer thinks you sold the car, and they'll send you another one. That's the way cars are shipped, allocated to car dealers, is on how fast they sell them. So they lie to the manufacturer, say, I sold the car, they keep it on the lot, and then when the customer comes in, they can sell it to them for thousands over sticker. If you order the car, a lot of things can happen. First of all, you can cancel the order. You don't have to take it. Prices come down. You can insist on getting a lower price. You don't have that control. But when you spot deliver a car, you have it all. So that's why some dealers have cars in stock and other dealers don't.
And this one is from Donovan. He says, speaking of catalytic converter theft and the state of the world today, with the price of copper going up, people are cutting off the cables from Tesla superchargers and other EV chargers. This is becoming a big common problem that few people are talking about. There's a lot of copper in those cables, and each cable can be worth as much as $10 worth of recycled copper. And he says, so that's something you might want to watch for if you're looking for a charger.
Nancy, we're going to have to aim our webcams, security cams, at our rain gutter. Because we have a copper rain gutter.
And he says, now I'm not sure how they're doing this, but Earl, the horn in your Tesla will be enabled shortly with the center airbag in an update.
Oh.
So apparently they can do an update where your
That was an oversight.
center button can actually be your horn on your Tesla.
But how are they going to put an airbag in my yoke?
No,
I mean, the yoke's on Elon.
Oh, the yoke's on you, man. There's an airbag in there.
I got. Yeah, you can't. I mean, I got a yoke. There's no way you can put.
There's an airbag in there.
There's an airbag in my yoke?
I hope there's an airbag in your yoke.
Oh, I never thought
There
about
should be
it.
an airbag in your
Yeah.
yoke.
Must be a little bitty
Well,
airbag.
they pack it up all tight into the little thing, then it
I'll check when I
explodes.
go down.
It's a Takata airbag, though, unfortunately.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Help me.
Sorry.
Okay.
I got a text.
He's not getting near that yoke.
I have a text that says, texter says, I also got taken by Napleton, but let the callers know to check unclaimed money in the state. I found a couple of $1,000 they sold, so maybe that's where Napleton's putting it, is in the Florida, in the Treasury. So if Napleton ripped you off, just go to town. No, actually, I Google it. The Florida Department of Financial Services does have an unclaimed property website, and it's worth checking out. But I don't know if it's if the junk fees that you paid to Napleton go there. But
I don't
check
see
it
that
out.
one.
Check it out.
Yeah.
You might have some money.
How they classify it. Stu, we're going to go back to the phones where Amy is holding. Good morning, Amy. Welcome to the show. Amy,
Stewart. Hello.
are you there?
Hey.
Yes, I am.
Good morning, Amy. This is Nancy Stewart. Are you a first-time caller?
Yes, I am.
Are you a mom?
No, but I listen to your show
Okay.
every Saturday in my car.
The reason that I ask is because we're celebrating Mother's Day this weekend.
I heard
and,
that this morning when
And
I was driving.
you've won yourself $50. But if you were a mom, you would have won $100. But $50 is a pretty good deal.
That's better than nothing. Thank
So
you.
welcome. Stay on the line and talk to Elise. She's our female producer. She'll get your information, pass it along to me, and I'll get that check out to you.
Okay.
What can we do for you this morning?
Well, I have a 1998 Chevy Blazer, and it's fully loaded. And the passenger side rear door, I went to the grocery store, took my grocery bag out, went and got groceries, put it in, the door opened, closed, fine, got home, closed the door, went to open it again, and the latch wouldn't open to open the door. It just wouldn't open. So I tried to do it from the inside, and it wouldn't open at all. It just won't budge. So I took it to a guy that has worked on my car before, and he said, well, we'll have to order you a new latch, of which they don't make those latches anymore because they're lift-up latches. I think they quit after they made them in 1998, because I don't see one car that has one. And he said in order to put it on, we're going to have to break your car door. Now, I don't quite understand that.
Well, the problem is, once that latch is closed, that's all contained inside the door itself. So to get access to it, he's going to have to go in through the door panel without opening the door. So unfortunately, sometimes things are going to get broken just because there's no access to get into that latch. It's a process. If he's lucky, he may be able to get the door panel off and be able to get in access to that latch and disconnect it somehow, break it apart inside, and not damage too much additional items. But it's going to depend upon the design of that door latch as to how much stuff has to get broken in order to get that door open so you can replace that latch.
Well, I looked at it carefully, and it doesn't appear like there are any screws that come off. Like in some cars, those panels you can unscrew and take off that panel to work on a car or replace a latch or something like that. It appears like the whole thing is one solid piece. It's part of the door almost.
Right. There's going to be hidden screws. They're usually little plastic panels or plugs that cover the heads of the screws. They do that so it looks all nice and pretty. And then the rest of it is held with clips that are going to be just metal or plastic clips that lock into place in that door panel. But like I say, it's the getting that door panel off of the door without being able to open the door at all. Because the door is jammed shut, you can't open it. So he's going to have to kind of literally go in from the inside, working inside the car to try to get that panel loose. It can be quite a process.
Amy, the good news is I found a 1998 Chevy Blazer hood latch on eBay for $50. So that's not so bad.
Well, that's a hood latch. She needs a door latch.
Oh, okay.
A door lock assembly.
I found one on eBay, but he found a place he could order one. But the whole issue, and the inside latch is easy to find. They had tons of those, but the outside one they couldn't seem to find. He did find a source. He said he could find one, and I found one on, carparts.com.
Good for you.
1998 Chevy Blazer base exterior door handle, rear driver's side, smooth black, $15.49.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
The fact remains, do I know that this is the right one? No, I don't.
How important is it to you, Amy, that door open and close? You said it was your passenger side rear door. How often do you use
it's my
that?
driver's side rear door.
How often do you use that door?
Well, I used to use it all the time.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you don't use it now all the time, it's probably not going to be worth. You're driving a 24-year-old car, and you don't want to spend hundreds of dollars fixing that door. So, if I were you, I just say bye-bye door and keep it closed all the time and don't worry about it.
I've just put a new battery and a new starter in it.
Yeah.
It's getting to the point where I'm putting more money into it than the car is worth.
Now, you definitely need the battery, but I don't think you need that right rear door.
Left rear door.
Left rear door, yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, my bank people say, it's time to look at another car. And I said to her, now is not the time to buy a car. And I talked to the Auto Nation where I bought it, the dealer guy, Fred Freese, and he didn't even have any inventory. And he said a new Blazer would cost me almost $37-something thousand plus tax, which would bring it up to 40-something.
Keep that old Blazer running, and in about 6 months or 8 months, take another look at used car prices. But I think you're in pretty good shape right now. Just try not to think about that left rear door.
Yeah, it's not a breakdown issue. It's not something that's going to leave you stuck alongside the road, and it's not the fact that the door won't close. It's just that door won't open. And I myself, if it were my vehicle, I wouldn't even fix it. Unless you absolutely had to, I wouldn't.
You don't think I should spend the money on it because even though they have the latch, which may be the cheapest thing in the whole deal of fixing it, the labor is what's going to...
Right. That job's going to get very labor intensive, and very likely, like I say, other parts are going to get broken, and that's going to raise that bill up even more. So I wouldn't even do it. I would say, no, leave it be.
I don't want to spend money on the car. It's already cost me a fortune to keep it as it is.
No, I wouldn't spend money on that. If it was something to do with the engine or transmission that made it to where you couldn't drive the car, then I would consider it. But otherwise, for a door that you've got 3 other doors on the car that you can use, I wouldn't even bother with it.
Okay.
Well, I listen to your show every Saturday. I'm from Detroit. I'm a car person, always have been, and I've always driven Toyotas. I had a Celica when they first came out, the rounded model. Loved my little Celica until I moved to Florida, and it scared me to drive it on 95, so I went and bought that Chevy Blazer, and I almost think it was the worst choice I've ever made. I wanted a 4Runner, but I couldn't afford the 4Runner. So I settled for the Blazer, and look what I got.
Yeah.
Thanks, Amy. I really appreciate the call.
I love my Toyota. I even
thank
had
you.
a bumper sticker that said, I love my Toyota.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amy. I really hope that we're able to help you this
You
morning.
were, because I really have no one to advise me on whether to do this or not.
Yeah, and that's why we're here, Amy. You stay in touch with us, and we'll help you along the way. Rick is the best of the best. So have yourself a wonderful weekend.
Will you send me information on getting a hold of you and stuff?
Certainly, you can stay on the line, and you can get that from Eloise.
Okay.
All right, she can let you know how to get in touch with all of us.
If you're a mom, happy Mother's Day to you.
Thank you so much. I am indeed. 877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. We're going to go to Julie, who has been holding. Good morning, Julie.
Good morning. I had a question about electric vehicles.
Yes.
Hi. Let's say you live in the third floor of a condo. Is your only choice for charging a car is to go to a charging station? And what are they charged?
It depends on what make car are you talking about? What make electric vehicle are you thinking about buying, Julie?
I'm probably not going to buy one. It was just a hypothetical. I was thinking, if you have a garage, you can do that garage setup where you have charge right in your garage. But if you're in a upper floor of a building or even a condo on the first floor, I wasn't sure how you charge it.
Well, if you live in a condo, and this is going to be an issue that's going to arise just more and more frequently as electric vehicles become more common. It should be an issue that's brought up to the condo association for the parking garage or the outside parking, however you have it, to install charging stations. And they're not ridiculously expensive. I think I think I have a home one for about $700. I think I installed the charger was $700. And so that's how it would have to be done. If you couldn't get one installed at your condo, if you had a Tesla, you could locate the closest charging stations, the superchargers. But there's also, besides Tesla, there's other independent charging networks like ChargePoint, which is a popular one. And if you have an app on your phone, it'll locate all the chargers, any charger nearby on your phone.
And Julie, another thing, most people are thinking in terms of charging when they're going on long trips, because you don't right now. Most of your electric vehicles are going to get around 300 miles to a charge, so you don't have to charge it every day or every other day. And as long as you can find a charging station, if you're not a high volume, high mileage driver,
once a week,
it isn't a big deal. So if you have to charge once a week, you're going to be going by a charging station 9 out of 10 times. I mean, around Palm Beach County, I live in an area that and I live far from a charging station. It's about 10 miles, so you're never going to be more than about 10 miles from a charging station in Palm Beach County. I don't know where you live, but that's not going to be an issue.
I've seen them at the outlet malls in West Palm. I have seen them there.
Yeah.
What do they cost? How do they charge? How do they?
Right.
Yeah. How much do they cost for charging?
They charge by the kilowatt hour, and the average is around 13 cents per kilowatt hour, and that doesn't mean anything
How
to
much
you
for
or
a charge?
me. That's what I'm saying. I'm how they do it. It's about a month, about $30, $40 a month to charge the car and electrical costs, and so and that depends on how much you drive it. That's way better than gas. That's less than a third of what I'm paying to fill up my tank right now.
Much better.
Because I got out of an electric car right when gas went to $4.50 a gallon. That's how smart I am. So it's really it is a fuel safe. It is it's cheaper than gas, and it's a lot more convenient than people think. But it's totally natural to be apprehensive about it because it's a completely different way to get around. And I stressed out about it the first time I took the Tesla on a road trip. Because usually you don't think about that sort of thing. I'll find a gas station. But I did a little pre-planning, and it turned out to be very smooth, and it worked out. It was great, and so I'm a believer. I don't think that the challenges or the things that we're worried about that are they'll be overcome, and they'll be solved bit by bit. And sometimes we don't have the answer for everything, but it's a pretty safe bet now to get an electric car.
And I can tell you, Amy, that I'm sorry, Julie, that speaking, from experience in driving, I am driving an electric car now, and I'm driving the Tesla, and I was very reluctant in the beginning, and it's going to save you an enormous amount of money if you figure that out, dollar-wise a year. It's just amazing. Right. You just don't think about it, and you can become very used to driving the electric car, with getting on the road and getting out there.
Right.
So you can overcome all those fears. I have.
Okay, well, thanks for the update.
You have yourself a great weekend. Our telephone number is 877-960-9960, and you can text us at 772-497-6530. We are going to go to Jeannie. I believe Jeannie's calling us from...
Please go away.
Jeannie?
Hi.
Hi. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You're calling us from North Palm Beach?
I am.
Oh, good morning. What can we do for you this morning, Jeannie?
So I bought a new Porsche Macan, which I love. It's a great car. And a day later, I got an email from Porsche saying that because of a chip shortage, they couldn't provide the electronic steering column that I paid for. So they were giving me a $500 sales voucher to use towards the purchase of my new Macan. But I had already paid for it, so the sales voucher was of no value. So I called Porsche North America, and they said, well, you can use it for service. But the service is included on the 3-year lease, so that was of no value. Anyway, we went back and forth, and they say they'll have someone call me back, and this has been going on since April 12th with no resolution.
Wow.
Wondering if you have any ideas.
Well, I know that's a very common thing that's going on now with the global microchip shortage, that some manufacturers are delivering vehicles without all the equipment, with the promise, usually what I've heard is with the promise when it becomes available, that component, they'll install it later. It sounded like Porsche did it with the voucher. Gosh, I mean, I don't know. They owe you $500, but there's no way really to redeem it because they're paying, the service is free and you've already bought the car. I would just see how you could take it up the chain of command to see to convert that to cash somehow, to see if they can change it from a $500 voucher to a check. But I wouldn't know where to begin. Maybe the general manager of the dealership. Have you tried going up to the folks that run it?
Yes, and they tell me that I have to take.
And
it
it's
up
all
on
going through Porsche.
card.
It's and they're saying it's Porsche, right?
Right.
Hey, Earl, this sounds like a very familiar situation. You have a situation where you need the dealership to advocate for you, and the manufacturer is dragging their fee on her $500 voucher.
Yeah, I think that you need to start putting things in writing for starters. I'm not sure whether you have or not, but phone calls and even verbal face-to-face don't cut it anymore. You have to be, I think, text or emails. Always make your request and save copies of your request. When they know you're keeping a paper file on your issue, you get attention a lot quicker. I'd also call Porsche directly. Have you called? Did you say you called Porsche directly?
I do. Well, so the letter is signed by a man who doesn't have a phone number at Porsche, but I know he's at Porsche in Atlanta, but they have no phone number for him.
Mm-hmm.
And they've let me leave messages at a voicemail box, but nothing is ever returned.
Yeah. There are other areas you might try. One that always gets a response is my favorite, is the Florida Department of Motor Vehicles. The Florida Department of Motor Vehicles has life and death power over car dealerships. They have the license that a car dealer has to sell cars, used or new or both, is determined by the Florida Department of Motor Vehicles. They have a complaint form. You can download it from my blog site, earloncars.com, or you could get it online and file a complaint with the Florida Department of Motor Vehicles, tell them specifically what happened. You can be sure that a complaint will be sent to that dealer. Now, the Better Business Bureau and the County Office of Consumer Affairs and a lot of other complaints, nobody pays attention to them. But when a dealer knows, anybody in a dealership knows that the DMV, the FDMV, has issued a complaint, it gets immediate response. And
at the very least, it might make them, push harder to get Porsche to respond to you.
It will have the owner of the dealership involved. He will be involved because he will have to know about it. And speaking as a dealer for 50 years, anytime I get a complaint from the Florida Department of Motor Vehicles, it keeps me awake at night, and I look at it and I take care of it immediately.
Okay, that's good advice. I'll try that.
Okay, well, thank you. Good
sorry,
luck.
it is
Thank
really
you, Jeannie.
frustrating when there's faceless people. Sometimes it's easier to deal with a tough car dealership, but when you got the manufacturer and they're just hidden behind, like you said, you got a name, but there's no way you're ever going to find this guy's phone number.
Good luck, Jeannie, and
good
I
luck.
hope you stay in touch with us.
Okay, I'll let you know what happens.
Have,
Thanks.
have a great weekend. We're going to go to our last caller, Mark, who is a regular from Palm Beach Gardens. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning to all of you, and happy Mother's Day, Nancy.
Thank you, Mark.
I got just two things. One thing real quick is with the lady that has a Chevy Bronco, there could possibly, Rick, couldn't there possibly be a problem with the child restraint switch on the latch, whether, people load groceries in and out of a car, and sometimes the switch on the inside of the jam, actually on the latch, there's a switch to prevent, if you have a small child in the car and you're driving down the road, it prevents them from opening the door from the inside. And I know it's supposed to open from the outside, but if that switch is in an intermediate position rather than open or closed, that possibly could be an issue. What do you think?
That is certainly a possibility. The problem being that those switches, generally when the door is closed, it's inaccessible. It's actually back in behind the door jamb at that point, and you almost cannot get to it at all, even with little hooks and levers, little tools.
Coat hangers.
You can't get it. Yeah, you cannot get access to it. What most likely has happened is age, rust, corrosion, and that latch basically has jammed itself in a mid-lock position. It's almost like if you ever did that old trick where you were trying to open the door right at the same time that someone was playing with the door lock, and it catches that door lock in the midway position, it'll jam up the lock. And usually you could get those to free up, but if it's jammed up inside and just from corrosion and that locked itself, it's done, and there's just really no other access.
The only other thing I thought a possibility is, the biggest thing is going to be opening the interior trim panel with the door closed.
Right.
And trying to gain access to that latch. But anyway, that was just a question. My other biggest thing is, with petroleum-based automobiles, driving gasoline engines, you have an alternator that works jointly with the battery, that as you're driving the car, it charges the battery, with everything working properly. Now, how come, and this may sound like a silly question to you guys that know about electrical vehicles, why on an all-electric vehicle couldn't the manufacturer come up with an alternator-type situation to where, we talk about all these problems getting to charging stations on time if you don't have one at home or at your condo association. Why don't they have a device on an electric car that as you drive it, it would help charge the batteries on your electric vehicle, thus giving you longer mileage stretches? Does anybody have an idea on that, or am I just my brain stuck in neutral?
Well, basically with the way they're designed, the electric motors that drive the wheels, when you let off the accelerator and the car is coasting, those motors switch to generators, and they actually use the spinning force to create electricity to help recharge the system. It's called regenerative braking. The problem is what you're going to encounter, and this has been throughout history, people have always looked for this, perpetual motion or free energy, and it simply cannot exist because the drag created by a generator that is being spun will slow that car down so much that you're not going to produce enough electricity to equal the amount of energy you've lost by slowing the car down. So unfortunately, trust me, it's been tried. People have tried hooking alternators up to the wheels by way of belts, trying to create free energy.
Mark, you probably heard about
it just won't work.
You probably heard about the inductance coils in the highways, and this is catching on, and that does exactly what you're talking about. As the car drives over, all electric EV drives over a road with an inductance coil buried underneath the surface, you're charging the car. If you stayed on those roads the whole time you owned the car, you'd never have to worry about charging your battery. So, yeah, there is a way to charge your battery, but you can't do it from within the battery itself. You have to do it from outside. And who cares if it's outside as long as you're driving while it's happening? You never know what's happening.
Yeah, like if you travel from Florida to New York,
Yeah.
and you stay on the roadways that have that, then, you don't have to worry about stopping at Ramada Inn
Yeah.
and plugging in.
You have your
each
Florida,
night or something.
fully charged in Florida, fully charged in New York. And eventually, I mean, let's face it, I'm sure major interstate highways will all have inductance coils at some point in time. That's going to be a huge expense, but it'll
I
happen.
just thought that was an interesting question, and I had no clue. So
Yeah.
anyway, let's get. I'll hang up so you guys can get to the mystery shopping report.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Mark.
and have a nice weekend.
Thank you. You do the same. Look forward to hearing from you. As Mark said, we are going to get to the mystery shopping report. And for all of you who are trying to call us, our phones are frozen right now. You can get in touch with us by texting us and voting on the mystery shopping report. Your vote is extremely important. And
We've got some time for text or YouTubes if we have any.
Got one last one here on YouTube. E.C. Olson says, is Cartwright Used Cars in trouble? The one near me in Fort Pierce has almost no cars on the lot.
Car what?
It's Cartwright, C-A-R-R-I-T-E.
Yeah, I'm not familiar
Used
with them. I
cars.
used to. Cartwright used cars.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think it'd be awful hard to be in trouble today if you're a car dealer. I don't know. Haven't you?
Probably a situation like we've seen on a lot of used car lots. Just there's
No
very
cars.
few cars available,
Yeah.
and when you get them, they sell them, and
No,
the cars aren't coming in.
They have one, but they'll sell it for $1 million. They'll make a lot of money. Yeah. I've got an automotive news article here that I think I want to mention just because it amuses me. I don't know if it'll amuse anybody else. Nissan is kind of a troubled auto manufacturer. They just don't do well. The dealers don't like Nissan. Nissan doesn't like the dealers. Nissan doesn't sell very many cars in the grand scheme of things compared to Honda, Toyota, anybody really, Subaru. They're just not doing so well. And I used to joke a long time ago. It wasn't really a joke. I really believed it. I'm old enough to remember when Datsun was the name of the Nissan. And it used to be a popular car. It was like right up there competing with Toyota and Honda.
280ZX.
Yeah, and the Datsun. So some genius in Nissan came up, well, let's change it, Datsun name to Nissan. Nobody knew what the hell it was. And so they stopped buying the cars. Now, I didn't know this until I read this article in Automotive News, but someone finally figured out that the problem with one of the big problems with Nissan sales was that they should have never changed the name 30 years ago or whatever it was.
It's like New Coke, but they didn't go back.
So there was a revival and an effort, and they in India and some other countries they changed the name back to Datsun, and I never knew that. Now the problem is, this is the reason I laugh at it. And poor Nissan, the guy that came up and was sponsoring that idea, that was pushing that idea, was the CEO of Nissan. And of course, that guy's name was Carlos Ghosn,
Right.
and they put him in jail. He did. The good news is he escaped, and
Right.
he's in a hiding
In Lebanon.
in Lebanon.
True story.
I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
He was smuggled out in,
Yes.
in speaker crates in a private jet.
And they did. The guys that helped him escape, they're in jail. But Carlos is warming his feet in Lebanon.
In the Mediterranean.
In the Mediterranean. But nice try. Carlos, if you're listening, because we are international. Carlos, if you're listening, it was a great idea, and it would have worked, and I'm so sorry that you can't return home. But it should be Datsun
We'll never
and not
forget you.
Nissan.
Rick?
You know, right when they were doing that switchover, they came out with a series of commercials that had this, like, older Oriental fellow, and he just had this very calm voice, and one of the commercials I remember is him with this little dog in this Datsun pickup, and saying, "Dogs love trucks."
Oh.
And it was for some reason, that commercial with the dog and them driving off into the sunset in this Datsun is stuck with me. And to this day, I still
Stays
remember
with
that
you.
commercial. It's weird how certain commercials
Yeah.
can tag on so hard.
Exactly. Okay, folks, we have reached a time for the mystery shopping report. As I said earlier, your vote is very important. You can do that by texting us at 772-497-6530. And the mystery shopping report comes from, well, as Stu put it, just a little town that's nestled in the northern part of Florida. And that little town is called Lake City. And the mystery shopping report comes to us from Roundtree Moore Ford. So back to the recovering car dealer and our mystery shop.
Well, I'm not the only one that never heard of Roundtree Moore Ford. When I read the title to Stu's report, I thought maybe it was Pennsylvania. I had no idea where Roundtree Moore Ford was.
I had heard of it because I knew of a Roundtree Moore Toyota.
So Lake City. We don't know how much. We don't know much about this small town dealership, but we're mystery shopped a lot of dealerships just like this one. Roundtree Moore, small family-owned dealer group that dominates the car biz in Lake City. And they've got Ford, Chevy, Toyota, Nissan, and Kia. They just pretty much got the whole town wrapped up. Lake City, a very small little place. I guess I never heard of it before. Lake Park, I've never heard of them before either, but they're close, so now I know where Lake Park
I
is.
see Lake City on street highway signs, like when you're up going
Oh,
through
do you?
Gainesville,
Yeah.
like Lake City next exit.
Roundtree Moore is part of a dying breed of family-owned dealerships, the type that was once on the car rows in cities across America. Roundtree Moore in Lake City could just as well be the Wallace Group and Stewart, the Schumacher Group in West Palm Beach, or the Earl Stewart Group in North Palm Beach. But large dealer groups like AutoNation are rapidly becoming the face of the retail car business. Kind of sad, you know. Just it was kind of. It's a family-owned business, you know, father, son, father, daughter, more father, son than daughter, but it sounds warm and fuzzy. It's a real nice, quaint. Yeah, that's the word. Mystery Shopping reports that family dealerships produce a wide range of results because the styles of these businesses are as varied as the personalities of their owners. Small-town, family-owned dealerships tend to treat our mystery shoppers more kindly and are less likely to engage in the more depraved tactics. Roundtree Moore Ford checks both boxes, family-owned and small-town. They also are operating under the same inventory environment as all car dealers, which makes it possible to hike prices with virtually no limits, the only limit being self-restraint. I like that very much, the only limit being self-restraint. You can charge anything you want if you're a car dealer. There's no legal cap. And if you can sell a guy a car for $1 million that cost you $10,000, it's strictly legal. I think it's immoral. I think it's unethical, but it's strictly legal. The primary goal of our mystery shops of the last few months has essentially been to find car dealers who are practicing self-restraint, you know, ethics, morality. If you've been listening recently, you know we aren't too successful, haven't been too successful. Agent Lightning headed up to North Florida, hoping to add another dealer with solid enough ethics to control his sales department to our list of good guys. Here's the report. Speaking in the first person, when I entered the showroom, the receptionist was busy speaking on the phone, so I wondered a bit, hoping to get the attention of a salesperson. I think we've all done that, and I think in different stores, hoping somebody will pay attention. Eventually, Joe came over and asked how we could help. I said I was there to get a new Ford Edge or an Escape. Joe said they had no Escapes, but there were 2 or 3 Edges that may be available. We could see 2 Edges parked nearby. We made our way over. I walked around the gray one, and Joe asked if I wanted to see this one. I said yes, and Joe went to find the key. There was no Monroney label visible. It happens a lot. Happens a lot, too often. Joe said it had just come in, and they hadn't had a chance to put it on. I guess they do put them in the glove compartments.
Maybe during the PDI. Like, we're familiar, if you're listening, when our Toyotas come in, they're prepared at the port, so they come in with the stickers on them. So maybe at Ford, they do it at the dealership.
I don't know. The law says they're supposed to be affixed to the window until the customer removes it, and this is never done, but okay. Tired of talking about it. That's just never going to happen. He opened the door, reached between the seats, and handed me the Monroney label and the addendum. Here we go. The infamous addendum. You can't have one without the other. The MSRP was $44,485. That's a Monroney. They had a $3,000 market adjustment, the infamous market adjustment, and $2,895 protection, exterior paint warranty, rain repellent, headlight UV protection, cabin sanitation, interior microbial, anti-theft, VIN etching, nitrogen, I'm running out of breath, nitrogen in the tires, $2,500 collision credit for 90 days. Welcome kit, car care products.
I didn't understand that one. It says you crash your car in the first 3 months.
They will give you the $2,500 if you crash your car.
Well, that's an incentive to drive unsafely.
That's right. Yeah, because I'm gonna get that guy. Anyway, when I read this, I saw the brainstorming session of the advertising agency or the dealership. Probably the dealership. They probably do all their own marketing, and they had a bunch of people in the room. They said, "Okay, now we want to screw the customer out of a few $1,000s. We need to come up with some stuff that costs us nothing." That we can put on the window sticker, the addendum sticker.
How about Rain-X? We can put some Rain-X on it.
I like that. And anybody else? Headlight UV protection. Yeah, okay. I like that.
Well, I don't have anything to give them. How about we tell them if they pop a tire, we'll give them $50.
Right. Anyway, there we are. So now the addendum, the price instead of $44,485 is now up to $50,380. There, small town. Okay, we are seeing devious, deceptive behavior in a small town. I asked him if the addendum items were negotiable. Joe said no. He told me his mother. I have a strange sense of humor. Joe said no. He told me his mother had bought a new Edge, and she had to pay for the market adjustment and Roundtree Moore Advantage. It's not funny, and it makes me think terrible things.
And on Mother's Day,
of
all times, to use your mom like that.
Did Joe really do that to his mother? And would he do it to your mother, or does he do it to you? And he would mark it up. It just, I get it's called sick humor. That's what the reason I'm laughing. That's sick humor. It's really terrible. Did he really sell his mother a car and charge her $5,000 over a sticker? I guess he did. Maybe. Either that or he's lying. Either way, it's a bad thing.
He's not a very good son. I would have found another dealership for my mom.
We took the vehicle on a short test drive. Joe asked me how soon I planned on buying. I said, today, if the numbers are right. That's what they want to hear. They want that emotional involvement. We went inside, found a desk. Joe questioned me and entered my answers into his computer. Then he asked if I was ready to see a breakdown of the numbers. I waited for Joe for only 5 minutes. He sat down at the desk, showed me a worksheet. The total purchase price was the amount on the addendum, $50,380. Then they added $1,098 in junk fees. The real price now was $51,478. Let's round that off. $7,000, $69.93. $7,000 over MSRP. And just this little town called Roundtree Moore in Lake City. Roundtree Moore hit me for $7,000 over sticker. I asked Joe if this was his best price. I said his offer was too steep. Joe wasn't sure if it was his best deal. I don't
know what he said there.
Yeah.
There was no detail on him. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Talk to the boss.
He just left to talk to the boss. He was back. David, who was the boss. In 4 minutes, he had David. David summarized the issue for him. He said he'd love to earn my business. They always say earn, but he was told I wanted to see a better deal. He asked if this was correct. I said yes, and let him know I needed to get my husband on board before I could move forward. David said he understood and presented a new worksheet. This one had a discount of $3,500. Boy, that's in the industry we call that dropping your pants. Right. You don't ever drop your pants. You always move slowly. When you're playing the silly game, you ask for a price and you come down $175. Then you go back and then you come down another 200. You don't ever drop precipitously. That is known in the vernacular as the pants drop.
Right.
You don't do that.
And it comes as a very crude source to
It
that.
shocks people. And that's the word. You don't want to shock people. You scare people when you drop your pants. They added the same junk fees. So
You get
my
in trouble if you do that, too.
So my new price was $47,978, $3,493 over MSRP. So they've come all the way down from $6,000 over MSRP to $3,500 over MSRP. Precipitous. David asked me if we were close. He said he didn't want to lose my business and said he may have some more wiggle room once my husband came in. They always leave the wiggle room to get you back. You can't get an out-the-door price from a car dealer in the USA or the world for that matter. You can't get. They always want to leave you with the feeling that I can do better. Otherwise, you're not going to come back. Sad statement on our industry. And that's our mystery shopping report. I don't know where we stand time-wise, but I think we got time. Let's hear some folks come in. We were surprised. Lake City, small town, northern Florida, family-owned, with this type of behavior. And the question is, was it an anomaly? Is charging thousands of dollars over a sticker enough to put a person into a failing grade? Is there something else they did that was truly wrong, illegal? That's what you have to think about when you come up with your vote.
Well, I think that we are fooling ourselves when we picture these little towns like Mayberry, all innocent. It doesn't matter where you are. You know, greed finds a way.
Opie is very mad at you right now.
Opie might be mad at me, but Opie
And
can't
the
resist.
sheriff. The sheriff.
Yeah, Andy and Opie cannot resist the temptations that the current market situations are presenting to dealers, and they can't control themselves. And I got grades coming here. I got F minus. Mark gives them it says 50,000 for an edge is ludicrous. F double minus. And maybe that's what it is, because you're expecting something to be wholesome and clean, and it's not. We have a text here who said this could have been a C, but the wiggle room took it down to an F. And Anne-Marie says, small town dealer, big city sleaze. It might not be illegal, but the behavior deserves a big fat F. I'm not ready to fail him, but I do think it's a little bit worse than what we've seen. I'm going to give him a D, because I was too nice last week.
Okay. Rick?
Well, I've got Kirk in West by God, Virginia. Most disappointing, non-negotiable add-ons like nitrogen, which is 78% of the air we breathe. A solid F minus. Happy Mother's Day. And I've got Tom Seckel with an F. There are no Mullinax. Tim Gilliland, I'd put this dealership in my rear view pronto. F. Donovan Lewis, I'd give him a D minus. They came down $3,500. I think you could get that for $50,000 out the door if you really tried. And let's see, Brian Sidlacco, Joe, this is no way to treat your mother. D. And Tom Steckel also says the mystery shop Wes Haney Chevrolet in Live Oak, as a suggestion, says they're a no-fee dealer. But he also had one other comment, and I got to bring this one up. The CEO for Datsun Nissan, yeah, he says he opened an Appleton dealership in Beirut.
Named it after Napleton Datsun in Beirut.
And my vote for this one is it's a D, because they're playing the same games as everybody else, but it's not like they were really hiding anything except the Monroney sitting down in the console. But they were straightforward with, hey, we're just gonna ransack your wallet for you. So
that's right.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
Nancy?
Well, it's disappointing on so many levels. Ransacking your wallet, Mayberry, the Monroney label, all of us in all the comments, and I give them an F.
Yeah. You know, I'm going to give them a low grade, but I'm not going to fail them, because like Rick was saying, and all the dealers, if you check it right now, we haven't found, how many have we found that are even limiting it to MSRP, even the ones with MSRP are only close to MSRP?
I don't think we found any. I think we had in Pennsylvania, we had a dealer that was had the fees. They sold at MSRP, but had dealer fee on top of that. So
I'm going to give them a D. I guess maybe I'm just in a bad mood. I probably should give them a higher grade, but they didn't do anything illegal. They just, unfortunately, they just didn't have any moral scruples, any ethical scruples. I mean, the fact, the story sticks with me about the mother. The fact that Joe charged his mother thousands of dollars over a sticker. Why would he do that?
Why would you even mention that?
Well, not everybody
knowing
loves their
that
mother.
you just
Yeah.
I mean, people have bad relationship with their moms. You know, he might hate his mom.
Anyway, so we'll do that. I just had this silly thought. Do I have time for a silly thought? The theme song from Mayberry. Can you hear that in your? Can we put that on hold music for our dealership?
It makes everybody happy, or drives people insane.
I love the sound. Anyway, is there anybody got anything before we head to the closeout here? Any thoughts? Oh, I have a thought. Okay, here, and this is
We can talk about that Monroney live.
this
we
is
were
open for
talking about.
the studio, or you texters can text me. If you have LoJack installed in your car, and I asked Josh Stewart this the other day because I had a customer call me, went into Napleton, and they charged him $999 for LoJack, and then he started thinking, where is my LoJack? And so we called Napleton back, and they said, we can't tell you, it's a secret.
Right.
And they said, well, maybe you could call LoJack. So we called LoJack, and LoJack says, we can't tell you. And he even had the VIN.
Right.
So what do you do?
Well, that's to prevent thieves from calling up and
I
finding
know.
out.
So you got people, dealers all over the country are saying, we just charged you $900 for LoJack, and you have to believe him because he can't tell you where it is.
Right.
And you'll only know if your car gets stolen, and then if they don't recover it, that's the only time you find out. Then they could say, well, the LoJack broke.
I thought it was hilarious. Josh looked up LoJack, and on it says, we might not be able to give you any information if you call. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. There's got to be a way. Anyway.
Anybody know the answer to the LoJack? What is it? There's a word for that. The LoJack is a...
It's a theft.
It's a tracking
conundrum.
Yeah.
Conundrum.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I would think the simplest way.
Can you hear a tree fall in the forest if there's no one there to hear it?
Right.
So
Really?
if you have LoJack,
you can't see it,
and you
is
can't
it
see
there?
it, how can you prove it's there?
But the whole point of LoJack is that it's a tracking system. So if you call LoJack,
they won't tell you.
And you say, "Here's my VIN number. I am the legal owner. This shows that I, paid for the LoJack.
It's not
Can
gonna
you tell
fly.
me what is the location of my vehicle?
They tell you.
Can we tell where the car is?
Not going to fly.
Well,
They
that's
won't
the
do
point.
that.
If they can tell you the location of your vehicle,
We are running out of time.
Hey,
then you know it's
listen,
working.
I have something to add to that. Folks, you heard the question that Earl just asked you. We'll be back here next week. Please text us. Please. You can get in touch with us a million ways.
Or LoJack.
Earl we've been talking about this for days. Please answer the question, okay? Thank you for participating. Everyone have a great Mother's Day out there. Have a great weekend, and we'll be right back here next week, right here.